Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name is Austin. The Watcher is starring Dakota Fanning. A 28-year-old artist gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. Finding shelter, she is unknowingly becomes trapped alongside three strangers who are stalked by mysterious creatures every night. This isn't directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This is actually directed by his daughter, which I do not say the name of, but they definitely have some similarities in quality, and that is mostly making not really good films. I'm not gonna try to be mean because there's actually good bits in this movie. I actually did enjoy the first 30 minutes of this movie. The first 30 minutes of this movie actually felt like a real movie. Anything after that, it felt like it was just dragging on. But overall, I think this movie had an interesting premise where you had this character who feels lost in the world, so she goes out to basically, I don't know, find herself, take some time off basically, and she gets stranded in the forest with this bird that was given to her. I honestly really don't know how the bird indicated anything in this movie, but yeah, she has a bird. So while being stranded in this forest, she meets these three other strangers, which you don't really get to know that much. Like, they're kind of just there. You don't really interact with them. A couple things, um, one of them has a husband and one of them was like a teacher, but besides that, you don't really get any much of an attachment to these characters. And that kind of where it kind of falls, like where after the 30-minute mark, what basically is when she gets there, or is there for like a bit, the movie just drags out. Like the movie doesn't have anything to give besides like the mystery aspect. Like, okay, what are these creatures? Like, what are they? How do they function? How do they work? And it's like they really, and what they're like, you don't really know what these creatures look like. But at some point in the movie, it's like, okay, well, since that's all we really know about, like that's actually all that we know about the creatures, so we're just going to show you the creatures. Here they are, and it's like, oh, and actually, like, you lose me. Like, you lost my interest because there's nothing else holding up the film. I don't care about any of the characters. The dialogue is actually really fucking bad. Like, there's exposition in this movie that is so forced that literally you have a character talking to a bird about her backstory. It's like, what do you? Like, it's like, who are you talking to? And there's even at some point in the movie where, two characters are dancing out of nowhere. One of them talks about how their dad beats the shit out of them. I'm like, what the, like, okay, thanks for ruining the moment. It's like, where was this? Like, they should have really utilized the knights in this movie. You see them a lot, like hanging out in this room. Like, this is the only room that they can be in because there's certain rules that they can't do. They can't go into like this trench hole. They can't be out at night. They can't open the door at night because then the watchers will come in and like kill them. Like, so because like there's rules that they can't do in the, like they have to follow in this movie, which I like. I like that there's actually boundaries because then that actually builds up a little bit of tension. It's like, okay, well, oh, it's getting dark out. We got to get back right now. So I like that aspect. But you have them sit in this room and they don't talk. They don't really talk to one another. Half the time they're either sleeping, watching TV, like this rom-com TV, like this like dating show TV. I don't know what the hell that had to do with anything. And like whenever they explain their backstory, it's like, what does this got to do with anything? What does their backstory add to anything in this movie? It doesn't. It doesn't do anything for this movie. So it's like, okay, so you're just trying to give us a reason to get attached to these characters, but in the weirdest fucking way. And that it's just like, I'm just going to tell you straight to the audience, talking to the screen. The movie had an interesting premise. It just was terribly executed. And that's kind of my biggest issue, especially with the ending. The ending felt like it was trying to go bigger, but it didn't need to go bigger. It felt way too big for its own good. It's like, I liked it that it was isolated, that it was just like, okay, here's this situation, you need to get out of this, and next, like, okay, it's over. And like, honestly, I thought when they like at some point in the film, it's like, okay, it's about to be over, but no, it just kept going. I'm like, why we keep going? And next, when I looked at my phone, it's like wait, we're only in an hour in, and now we're just like, wait, what? Like, and you're telling me like there's like 20 to 30 minutes more of this movie? And so like it just seems like the movie had it had an interesting 30 minutes. Next, the climax was the 30 minutes, and next when it hit the hour point, it's like, oh shit, it's only an hour long. We gotta, oh fuck, we got to add something else to it. And I know that, and I've heard that this was based off a book. I'd never read the book, so I don't know what aspects of the what like happens in the book. But I would have preferred if they went like they built it up suspensively. They didn't show any of the creatures, and this movie really utilizes the sound aspects. Like you hear the creatures running around, like banging on the walls, banging on the glass. But as soon as you show me the creatures, I'm like, okay, well, lost interest because they like you should be using the sound throughout the whole entire movie. I should not have to see the creatures once in this movie. You should not show me where they're running from. They should not, like, you should never have to do that because it loses that tension. It loses that suspense. The directing is actually pretty fine. It's just that, I think they need to find a better writer next time for M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. That's kind of just for me. Like, she seems like she has some talent and can visually tell a story, but it just fails at the execution of the written part of the story. I'm going to give The Watchers a D+. As interesting aspects, it's terribly executed. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.